This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
Welcome to Lights, Camera, Reels. Some opinions in this podcast may piss people off and hurt feelings. Viewer discretion advised.
And we're back
Yep.
yet again for another episode, another review on Final Destination Bloodline. So we're going to jump right into this one. This movie was, I don't want to say bad, I don't want to say good either. To me, it was kind of in the middle. It was a movie that kind of wrapped everything up, and that's what the idea of it was, to wrap the trilogy up. But I think it left a little bit more questions than answers on some of it.
But I actually like the movie, and I think it did a good job. So I guess we'll hear about two different perspectives.
Yeah.
And see how we go.
I mean, like I said, it wasn't a terrible movie. I just feel like all the kills and stuff were not original. That's one thing. I mean, some can be original style, but some of them I haven't seen some of them, and it still freaks me out to this day that I had to go get a test done after the next day, which wasn't that fun when you find a penny on the floor before you go in. So anyway, I don't know. I like the actors were great. They were perfect. Todd's farewell thing was fantastic. I love the fact that they allowed him to just say what was on his mind for his ending there before he sent it off. And then just knowing things now that after I've seen the movie it just wasn't terrible to me. I just feel like the movie was, I don't know if we had to have it type.
I don't think we needed it, but I do feel like there was a lot of closure that was brought from it.
Yes.
I think that the way that they have it structured is very well done in a way where, while it's after everything that's happened, it's also before everything that's happened.
Yeah.
And without trying to spoil it too much, the storyline that you get refers back to all of the previous movies in a way. And I appreciate the nod to all the other movies, the nod that Tony Todd did. I do appreciate that they gave him kind of his
farewell spot.
His farewell spot, yes, but that they didn't make his farewell spot scripted. His
they let him say
final
what he wanted.
2 or 3 lines, they essentially said, hey, go say what you want to say to your fans and say your farewell however you feel fit. And I think that by doing that, it gave this closure to not only his character, but to him himself in this franchise that people have not only related to in one way or another, but to this franchise that people have learned to love.
Yeah, and I see that too. the franchise been around. I just feel like we waited too long for this one too. The franchise been around since 2000s or so, the early 2000s, and I just feel like we waited too long to get the final chapter. I feel like that it, the time from the last from 5 to 6 is just a huge gap, and that's where I feel like if we would have had 6 maybe sooner, then the huge gap in between, just the timing of the movie was just kind of rough to me. Just having that huge gap between 5 and 6. Now 6 wraps everything up, but is it something that you could see another movie coming out of it?
I feel like there's always a way that a movie can come out of it. Um, because there's the bittersweet thing of the movies not interacting with each other and
Hmm.
not technically relying on each other, there's always that chance of it continuing. Especially because this movie revolves around a penny, and the way that they end the movie with said penny is
Not realistic at all, but
not realistic, but there's several quote unquote kills throughout the franchise that aren't realistic.
yeah.
Um, but to kind of dive into the movie itself, I think the intro scene was done absolutely beautifully.
Yeah, and I was talking to someone else about this earlier. That the person that I was talking to said that he felt that it was slow. I don't see that. I think that that was perfect the way it was laid out. And it's kind of it went right from the hey, this is the sky, the skyscraper and all that, and you go there and it's opening night and all that, and then it doesn't seem like there's like a drag storyline to tell you about the skyscraper or anything. It goes right from it's a grand opening, we're going up to it, and they go up. There's no
Right.
like story that drags that out to make it feel like it's dragged out.
I also like how you kind of get it from a different perspective this time.
Yeah.
It's the intro the opening scene itself isn't from the perspective of the person that is in that scene.
Hmm.
And I think that that was refreshing. It wasn't just, oh, I'm going to die. It was something closer to the effect of, where is this coming from? And then you got to see the main character put this puzzle piece together.
Yeah.
While you say that some of the kills were cheesy, I think they were really well done.
They were well done. It just seemed that it's something that you would see. I don't want to say cheesy per se, but I just like they weren't really. There are things that can happen, yes, but there are things that can happen. Like a lot of the I just think the whole falling off the building, a penny causing some of the like I don't see that all happening. There was like I said, there were some
It's
cheesy
far
kills and then
fetched,
some not.
but
Yeah.
I mean, if you take the penny out of it, there's a lot of things in that opening scene that could have really happened.
Oh yeah, glass breaking,
The glass
falling.
breaking, the elevator over capacity,
Yeah, that stuff can
um,
happen.
at that height, the pressure building up within,
Mhm.
especially because they say that the structural components were completed, was it 4 or 5 months ahead of time?
Ahead of time. Yeah, everything was completed like 5 months or 6 months ahead of time than what they should have been. And I get the bolts flying out of the thing and all that. I like that could happen. That could really happen if the weight is too high. The bolts are just gonna fall out. But the whole kid throwing a penny and it ends up through the vent. And man, I'm not trying to give away too much of the movie, but it's kind of like, really? Really? A penny? Like a penny?
I don't like how the penny became a primary focus throughout the entire movie,
Movie, yeah.
but at the same time, it gave this comedic relief that the other movies more or less didn't quite have.
Yeah. It made it funny a little bit because there's like the penny, you know, now people see pennies on the street or see pennies inside doctors' offices and they're grabbing them and getting rid of them because it's a penny. Like, it caused all this drama in the movie, so it's like now people are actually thinking that it could cause drama in their life. So it's like, get rid of the penny. But it's something that I think, based around the entire movie, it wasn't terrible. With some of the kills were great. Like the spring was great. Going out of the machine through the guy's head, that was perfect to me.
I think the fact that so the MRI itself was done phenomenally
Yeah.
because it's definitely a realistic thing.
Well, it's a realistic thing can happen. Yes, definitely. That is not a something you want to play around with.
And being somebody who works in a hospital and all the parameters that the hospital goes through to ensure that stuff like that doesn't happen
Yeah.
is a huge thing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't done in a way where it was realistic. Because, I mean, ideally, if you go into an MRI room, the magnet's always turned on. It's not something that has to load like that.
Yeah, it's not a load thing. Magnets on, it picks up a lot of noise and everything.
Now, the machine itself may not necessarily be turned on,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think you can specifically turn a magnet off within the machine.
No.
I'm not sure how exactly that works.
That's why I don't even think, like, that's why all the electronics and stuff are in a separate room.
Yeah.
So they're not even in the same room when you go in. And you could tell it was set up, that room was set up weird because it seemed like they were still kind of in the same room, but it was just like in a box room off to the side.
The box room off to the side is how an actual MRI room in a hospital is set up.
Yeah, okay. So in a hospital. Okay.
So if you go to, like, say, a third-party imaging site, such as Advanced Radiology or something like that, the way that they have it set up isn't how a hospital setting is set up.
Okay. All right.
So the way that the movie has it depicted is very
perfect.
accurate.
Yeah.
But, like, the wheelchair being in the room, that never would have made sense.
Yeah, it wouldn't have made it in there.
No. It would have had adverse effects prior to when it did.
Mm-hmm.
I did find it fascinating that they made the kills based off of a specific timeline of the family itself.
Mm-hmm.
The concept of, it's going to go through X, Y, and Z. And the fact that they use this concept of the book and the tracking of each of these family members makes perfect sense. I would love to sit there and actually see if you can zoom in on, like, that the timeline
To see if it matches.
to see if it matches the other movies.
Yeah. That was my thing too, is the timeline thing. From the first time, now there's that, like, space between from the first time that it happened with her, she's thinking about it, it happened, she could see the vision and everything. What happened to the people that, she does explain that a little bit, like they slowly started dying off, but, like, you could have another movie just based on that. The original, like Final Fantasy or Final Destination original or something along that line. Instead of just calling it Bloodline, you can call it like the original kills or original something, and you can just go by based off of that movie of like all the original people that died. But you
But
had
that's what the other movies were.
yeah, but you had that yeah, that's how they were. But like the first set of people was like the grandfather, the the people that were before
No,
started
no, no, no,
dropping
no,
off.
no, 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 no. So, okay. Spoiler alert. The people that were supposed to die in the
Scraper thing, yeah.
skyscraper
Building
building,
skyline, yeah.
they so okay. Each of those people were supposed to die. Because
Mhm.
they were supposed to die, you have the first, was it 5 movies of Final Destination
Yeah, it was first
that are
five, yeah.
killing members of those families.
Okay. All right. I see.
Now, it
Okay.
does create a fallacy there because the not all of the siblings died throughout those movies.
Yeah.
Not all the parents died throughout those movies. So then you got to sit there and you dissect it, and as you're looking at it, you're wondering, okay, well, if they're supposed to kill X, Y, and Z, then the parents and siblings should all have passed as well, not just the people that are on the plane, not just the people that are in the
What's the plane? And then there was
car crashes, not just
yeah.
the school children, not just, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, I get that.
So the timeline that's shown within the book are the descendants of all of the people that were in the Skyliner.
Mhm. All
Sorry,
right.
Skyview.
Skyview.
And those people were killed. And then that's why now that you're here to this family was one of the last families because the original grandmother was one of the last 2 people to die. So
Okay.
now it's going through her family.
Her blood. Okay, her bloodline. Okay, now all right. Now it makes a little bit
So
more sense.
the beginning of the movie shows that the original instance, the original premonition happened
Mhm.
back in the 50s.
Yeah, because you could tell by the car and the style of the movie that it was like taking place in like the early 50s or
So
so.
you may not see that these kills are simultaneous in
Mhm.
terms of these other movies, but that's why only certain people were set to die. For example, when they were doing the racetrack,
Yeah.
that's why there's only a handful of families there that were impacted, not everybody in that situation.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. No,
Because
not
they're
everybody died.
descendants, they're this, they're that. And yes, there will be casualties
Yeah.
that may not have been there in that
That
timeline to
shouldn't have
begin
died,
with,
but yeah.
but death has chosen them.
Yeah.
So now you're here at the end of the Skyview's timeline. And whereas this penny should have triggered it all,
Mhm.
now the penny is ending it all
Yeah.
in one of the most unrealistic fashions I've seen. But
Yeah.
now I'm curious, okay, well, at the very end where they're going through the credits and the penny is still rolling, do we get a new Final Destination movie,
Where it
or
goes
do
down
they
a
leave it
different
alone
line.
because you don't have Tony
Unfortunately, I
Todd?
say leave it alone.
You should leave it alone. It's a
Leave it
great
alone.
franchise.
Yeah, it's a great franchise, and it's finally, to me, it's over. There's no point of making another one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's rumors that they were going to make another one because this movie made so much money. They weren't. They want to run it dry.
I feel like Final Destination is a movie that is set up in a way where you could continue to make 20, 30, 40 types of these movies. But how do you continue the kills?
How do you change it up?
Right. It's very similar to like the Saw franchise.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different chapters
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you
of the
could make
Saw
a.
franchise that you could do.
I was gonna say you could do thousands of Saws. Everybody,
Mm-hmm.
you could change it in many ways, and
And people are going to love it all the same.
yeah, they're gonna love it. They're gonna go run to the theaters. They're gonna watch it at home. They're gonna, even after it goes to streaming, everybody's gonna jump on it and watch it again. Even after going to the theaters, people are gonna watch
Mm-hmm.
the movie 10 times, and there is people out there that do that. And I'm not saying don't make another one because you've made so much money, but I think you could leave this one alone, and people would be happy with it being done. There's those diehard fans that would love to have them keep going, but I think it's time to close that book up, close that chapter, be done with it, move to something different. But I could see people still saying, "Hey, this was supposed to be a TV series at first, and then they
Really?
changed. Yo, this was supposed to be a TV series at first, and then they changed it to a movie, and now it's like, could you do another? Could you make it into another movie, or could you do like a little spin-off TV series or something? Because it was at first it was supposed to be just a like a unless it's always been supposed to be a movie, and this, TV series was just a people saying that it should have been a TV series or something like that. But I've read into it that it was supposed to be a TV series, and that's why they ended up changing it back to a movie. But I I've just been, I don't know. I was kind of, it was supposed to be like a Paramount, or not Paramount Plus, Peacock movie
Okay.
or TV series at first, and now they changed it to a movie. Which, hey, fantastic! They changed it to a movie. They made, 200 and some $1 million off of it. Now it's time to, I feel like, close that chapter up, be done with it. There's rumors that they're making another one already. There's rumors that there's going to be a seventh one. But with the fact that JB is gone now, what do you how do you make that a write off? Like, how do you write him out of the stories? Because he's been in every single movie, and nobody knew where he came from. Now you do. How do you write? I feel like they tried to write him off at the end of this one, but how do you officially say, okay, he ended that line?
So technically, if you're looking at the timeline, it's uncertain on whether or not he or the grandmother dies first.
Yeah.
So they could potentially leave it alone and just kind of bow out gracefully and
Mhm.
not contribute his on scene death.
Well, yeah, or how that'd be the other thing. How would you actually show a on scene death?
But I don't think they would do that. I could see them doing something like a a newspaper article or something
saying that he passed away. Yeah.
stating
Or
that he passed.
it's on television, this
Right.
breaking news, this gentleman from, the hospital. Yeah. I could see
Um,
that.
some type of like local news or something,
Hmm.
an obituary or something to that effect. That's how I could see them doing it tastefully if they were to do another one.
I just feel like if they do make another one, how how are you going to, if you wanted to say, okay, we're done with this franchise, how do you wrap it up on a seventh movie?
But do
It's
you
like
have to wrap it up?
you just have
I mean,
to.
I'm not saying that they should wrap it up, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I
Yeah.
feel like, unfortunately, it is one of those franchises that, because they don't link to each other in any specific direct
Yeah.
way, that there could be a brand new catastrophic thing that is prevented, and it starts the Skyview situation all over again.
Hmm.
And then that opens up another 4, 5, 6 movies as it's going through the quote unquote bloodline logic again.
Yeah. Like you could probably spin off something, make it another bloodline that's getting caught up in this. You could
Yeah.
do that. I just feel like if they drag this out any, like if you continue making 7, 8, 9, 10 more, whatever, I feel like you're gonna eventually just, that fan base is starting to, that fan base is gonna start pulling away from it
Mhm.
because it's gonna be, okay, we made 10 more of these movies, and the fan base is like, oh well, this movie was great, and then you can't go by the other ones. It's like the the tough part of it is that, like, you had all these other ones that were before, and then you had this one that wraps everything up, which it is great. Everybody loves the fact that it's, the fans want more, yes,
Mhm.
but the people that love the series is like, okay, it's wrapped up, it's enough. But it's going to, because other ones have brought in timelines before too, like the plane crash. I think it was like two. No, it wasn't two. It was like three or no, five was before the plane crash. Because as he's getting on the plane, the people that were in the original one are getting kicked off the plane.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, now it's like, if you wanted to watch them if you wanted to watch them in full order, you would have to watch six. You would pretty much almost watch 6, 5, and 1 before to watch them in complete order to understand it. But you would feel lost still.
But I feel like the way that they wrapped up 5, you didn't need the 6.
Yeah, it that's
It brought you full circle.
it brought it full circle. Now you added another movie, and it feels like okay. After 5, it was like, okay, now we got this. Now it feels like it's full circle, and it's like, no, it was full circle after 5. There's a lot of fans who just, why do we need a sixth movie?
Mhm.
Why do we need a seventh one? If you come out with a seventh one, it just feels, I don't know. It's just gonna feel weird to, where's this seventh one gonna go? Is it gonna go in the beforehand, or is it gonna go to something totally new?
Mhm.
And that's where I think fans are gonna drop off. Because if it doesn't come back to, it's gonna be original, and then you that's where I think a lot of fans are happy with the way it ended. And I'm happy the way it ended. I don't like the ending of this movie because it's not realistic at all. Um, Looked real heavy uh, CGI on the ending, but to end it the way it did kind of gives you the bow to the first ones of the original ones, that the log scenes always comes around.
Right.
And
But I think the log scene is probably the most iconic kill scene of the
oh
franchise.
yeah, definitely. And that's why I think they had to have one in this one.
But they had two.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They had to, but I feel
Stupid
like that's why
logs.
they had to have them. I did like the marketing scheme for that. I give them perfect, hey,
Kudos to you type
yep,
thing.
yep, that is hands down putting signs on the back of trucks that had wood, in the back of them, or the log trucks. That's fantastic. I got to give them to them. The marketing scheme on that was fantastic, and I think that's probably why more people want to see the movie in theaters than waiting till it goes to streaming. And that's why your numbers went from, you know, real low at first. You're thinking, oh man, this movie ain't gonna make much, and then boom, box office sales is through the roof for it, and that's why I think the marketing scheme on that, just so many people seen it, they were like, oh, I gotta go see it. There's a log truck riding around telling you final, final destination and all that. That's why I think I just think they did this movie very well. I just feel like now we didn't need it, but we got it, and that's why I say it's kind of a middle movie to me. It's not like the best, but it's not the worst
So
of the
what would you give it
franchise.
on a scale of 1 to 10?
1 to 10, I'm giving it 4.5,
Okay.
and that's, I mean, I like I said, the acting wasn't terrible. The CGI was a little overdue on a couple scenes, um, but to know, like now, to know the things before, because there's like been so many videos afterwards, to know like they paid tribute to the other movies with some of the kills,
Mm-hmm.
especially especially the one with the MRI machine where the wheelchair goes through the guy. It's going through a skull, which goes back to number 5.
But it also goes back to what JD said, where if you mess with death
Death,
and you
they
lose,
come back. Yep.
that essentially it comes back tenfold. And
hmm Death gets pissed off.
JD.
Yeah, but
So,
I
I mean, I'd give it a solid 6.
solid 6.
Yeah, because the acting was well done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any issues with the acting. I don't have any issues with the kills themselves, besides that they were a little cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's kind of where I'm at. Cheesiness a little bit, but not terrible. I don't know. Some of them were good, some of them weren't. It's all based around like we keep saying, it's based around little things that is not realistic. But it can happen. Some of this stuff can happen, just not realistically.
mm-hmm.
That's I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with it. It was a great movie. It was a good movie. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. It's a good to me. Now,
Would you watch it again?
I probably would end up watching it again, but I wouldn't go back to theaters to see it. I would wait until it's on streaming.
I agree.
Um, but now, if I had to, let's say there's no other movie out there, and this movie came out first, this movie probably would have been higher on my list,
Okay.
rating wise.
I do feel like if you're going to see it in theaters, that you should definitely pay the little bit extra to see it in either the 3 or 4D.
Oh yeah,
Because I definitely feel like it would be one of those movies where, with the angles and the effects, that the better that you're immersed in it, the
mhm.
better experience you're going to have with the movie.
I would say almost 4D. I would pay the extra for the 4D
Absolutely.
because you get all the chairs move, the wind, everything. You get all that. So I'm like, when she's standing on the skyscraper and there's the wind blowing by her, you get that feeling like the wind's blowing by her and all that, and the flames, you feel the heat. That I would feel like, okay, that's definitely worth it to me. If
Mm-hmm.
I could do it, I would be in a 4D theater right away to see that. But like, I don't know. Like the 3D portion, I don't know if I would pay for that. I would pay for the extra 4D instead of the 3D.
Mm-hmm.
And just because of the quality of it.
Well, not all places have 4D.
No, but a lot of them have 3D. So
Mm-hmm.
if the 4D ain't available, 3D definitely, I would definitely jump on the 3D. But it would still feel, I don't know. Now you would feel like things are coming out at you, and that'd be cool too. The jump scares and whatnot for it. But I don't know. I just this movie was like I said, this movie wasn't like terrible. It was definitely worth seeing in theaters. Just something that I would probably catch again, sitting around the house, and hey, I want to watch this movie again. Throw it on.
I would definitely say that if it's something that you want to watch in order, I would watch this first
Oh yeah.
in the Final Destination timeline.
Timeline. Yeah, I would watch this first. Now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna watch all the originals, and then I will wait till this one comes on to like streaming or DVD or whatever, and then snag it and then watch this one again, and then go back and watch all the in order, and then go, okay, now it full circles.
Full
Is
circle,
finally
all makes
and
sense.
yeah, it all finally comes to an end, and we're done. But on that note, got anything else?
Nope. Until next time.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to Lights, Camera, Reels. Be sure to follow, like, and subscribe.